Good morning. Donald Trump making his appeal to several groups of voters, explaining why he would be the best president for the economy and national security. Hi, everyone. I'm Maria Bartiromo. Welcome. This is Sunday Morning Futures. Trump addressing farmers in Iowa after spending much of the last week focusing on the minority vote. Rudy Giuliani in moments on whether Trump's message is resonating with voters. Plus, new revelations in the Clinton email saga. Still dodging the Democratic presidential nominee. Former Attorney General Michael Mukasey is with me on the upcoming release of more emails and the Clinton Foundation. Outrage this morning over an unfulfilled promise from the president, who said he would donate to the charity of an American held hostage, then killed by ISIS. Our panel will weigh in as we look ahead this morning, this Sunday on Sunday Morning Futures. Hillary Clinton meeting with top U.S. intelligence officials at an FBI office just north of New York City, getting her first national security briefing as the Democratic presidential nominee this morning. Yesterday's classified briefing caps a week of questions about her email and evidence of pay for play as we learn about direct connections between the Clinton Foundation and top officials at the State Department. We're going to be talking about that this morning. Joining us right now is former New York City Mayor Rudolph Giuliani. Mr. Mayor, good to see you.
I find the briefing of her extraordinary. She was found to be extremely careless in the handling of national security information. And now we're briefing her on national security information. You know, she wouldn't pass an FBI background check for an assistant U.S. attorney's position. If I were a U.S. attorney like I was 20 years ago, and she was a candidate for U.S. attorney, I couldn't hire her.
And President Obama made a point of saying, oh, you know, Trump needs to make sure to keep everything secret in these national briefings. And we know what just took place with Hillary Clinton. And he made no mention of Hillary Clinton. She
exposed literally thousands and thousands and thousands of our most sensitive secrets to our enemies, or our frenemies, however you want to describe it. Comey made that very clear when he just about said that they must have been hacked. And anyone who knows anything about cybersecurity, and I do that for a living, knows that it would be, to me, a surprise if the Chinese and the Russians, and maybe even some of our friends, don't have most of those emails.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that. And I know this is one of your specialties, is cybersecurity. Yeah. So I want to ask you about that as well as the Clinton Foundation. But let's kick it off right now with Donald Trump.
Okay.
And what he's been doing ahead of the important debate, September 26th. You've been strategizing with him. Is he beginning to narrow the gap between himself and Hillary?
You can see it every poll.
Yeah.
So a couple of weeks ago, he was down anywhere from 5 to 12 points in polls. Now he's, in some polls, like the Los Angeles Times, he's ahead by 2. Another poll, he's ahead by 2. A couple of others, he's behind by 3, 4. So he's narrowed the gap at least in half, if not more, even with her outspending him dramatically. And he's, right after Labor Day, going to spend a lot. And in the battleground states, they're all within reach, and in a few of them, he's ahead. So this is a very, very competitive campaign. I do believe that these people are such bigger-than-life personalities that this is going to depend on the debates. It's going to depend on what the American people think of these two people.
Right.
40% know they're going to vote for Hillary. 40% know they're going to vote for Trump. So sitting in that television audience are probably about 20% persuadable people. And whoever does a better job of convincing them that this is the person I can trust to be President of the United States, a little bit more than that one, is going to win. And I believe Donald will do that.
That's great analysis, yeah.
I think Donald Trump is a terrific performer. I also think he has much, much greater substantive grasp of the issues than anybody realizes. And I think that's going to be a surprise.
So how do you do that? How do you prepare him, help him to prepare that he has his arms around the issues of the economy and about national security, and that he has a plan in place?
So I would say he's better prepared than she is because he gets interviewed much more than she does. So an interview is a debate. And what's a debate? If you're moderating the debate, you're asking both people questions. That's what you're doing with me right now.
Right.
And his familiarity and his comfort in being in the interview process, which he does with both friendly and unfriendly reporters, has really prepared him well for the debates.
That's a good point. And she hasn't even given a press conference.
Instead of Donald Trump doesn't want to, nor do I think it would be a good idea for him to do one of these, like, stand up at the podium and somebody plays Hillary and we do a whole scripted thing. he would like the American people to see that he's not the typical politician, that he's an authentic guy, and he's going to talk to them straight from the heart and tell them what he thinks. And it's worked for him before. I think it's going to work even better now because they have set the bar so low for him. If you listen to Hillary, you're going to expect, the demon to come out on the stage. And I know what a kind man he is, what a good man he is, how many people he's taken care of. And that's going to come through.
But will she be able to outdo him on specifics? I mean, let's face it. She was there as the head of the State Department. She was there as the First Lady. I mean, she's going to have the experience card to play. What is he going to use to prove to the American people that, yeah, I have a plan to fight ISIS and take ISIS down. Okay, I have a plan to create millions of jobs.
So I don't want to give away any secrets in the debate, but this is not a secret because we keep saying it. Her experience is the worst thing she has going for her. Because she was a terrible Secretary of State. I mean, she can't go to a subject about foreign policy where she hasn't made it worse. Libya is worse. Iran is worse. Iraq is worse. Syria, 300,000 people killed while she was Secretary of State.
Wow.
She
and then there's ISIS.
And then ISIS emerged because she and Barack Obama and Joe Biden pulled our troops out of Iraq, leaving a vacuum. And that vacuum was filled by ISIS. You tell me the place where she's going to go. She wants to go to Russia? Well, she reset the relationship with Russia. Russia took over Crimea, and she got a great deal of money, in excess of $130 million from Russians into the Clinton Foundation, and voted in favor of giving Russia uranium. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
Voted in favor of giving them uranium. Meanwhile, $130 million goes to the Clinton Foundation. And before that deal was even put together, her husband helped to put the company together in Kazakhstan. And they made a lot of money on that. This is a totally corrupt State Department.
Let's be clear. Uranium is the stuff used to make nuclear bombs.
And some of that uranium, which the Russians promised us would not go to Iran, went to Iran. So what she did was she sold out our country.
Right. So she sold 25% of the U.S.'s uranium to Russia. If she were a Republican
Secretary of State, the headline in the New York Times would be, Clinton sells out America. But because the New York Times fawns over her, and has forever, you end up on, someplace with a little watered-down story.
Well, it's not going to be. That's not going to be the headline in the New York Times.
The Clinton Foundation is, to me, equivalent to Watergate and the Teapot Dome scandal in terms of scope. You have just read Clinton Cash and then do a little independent research, and you will see we're talking about at least 12 RICO predicates. This is a racketeering enterprise. The Clinton Foundation is where you paid the money. The State Department is where you got your access. And you didn't just get access. You got favors. You got the sale of uranium. That's a quid pro quo. You got a meeting with the American ambassador to Lebanon. That's a quid pro quo.
Bahrain as well.
The exact same thing with UBS. You put $130 million in, and you get her intervening with the Internal Revenue Service to go easy on UBS.
Wow.
That, to me, old prosecutor that I was, we used to call that in the old days, maybe it doesn't exist anymore, bribery. And I put RICO cases together, racketeering cases together, on far less than that.
Well, when you look at the timing of it, like, for example, the uranium deal, it was right then that then the Clinton Foundation got this money, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Which also, by the way...
And then Bill Clinton got $600,000 for a speech.
Which undermined our national security and puts us in jeopardy.
Is that resonating with voters, though?
I believe it's death by 1,000 cuts. I think there's so much now that even the most loyal Hillary people and the people who are worried about Trump have to see that this woman, she handled the State Department in a way that it was a racketeering enterprise.
Well, we know that 50% of her meetings were with donors. So you know how to get a meeting with the Secretary of State, donate to the Clinton Foundation.
And that is with a promise to the President of the United States that I will separate the affairs of the Clinton Foundation, and I will stay out of them.
Somebody said to me the other day, look, they're still asking for money, and they're telling the world, give us the money now, because after the election, when my wife wins, we're going to stop foreign donations. So it's basically a welcome, okay, send us the money now for the Clinton Foundation, because we're going to stop accepting donations. Yeah. They should just stop accepting now.
Of course they should stop now, but, she may lose. And then there's going to be no money going to the foundation, so they want to... Oh, they're worth $130 million. They'd like to be worth $200 million. I mean, remember, this is the woman who was broke when she left the White House.
Yeah.
And now she's worth 130, 140 million. That's tough when you've been a senator and held a public service job during all that period of time.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if Donald Trump keeps on those messages and
Donald Trump should stick on the message that she sold out her office of Secretary of State. She made it a pay-for-play operation, and she put our national security in grave jeopardy.
Rudy Giuliani, great to see you as always.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. A brand new Benghazi bombshell, meanwhile, could be on the way. A judge setting a speedy deadline for the State Department. What we will find out from emails between the White House and Hillary Clinton in the week immediately after the deadly terrorist attack. And then follow me on Twitter at Maria Bartiromo at Sunday Futures. We're talking with former Attorney General Michael Mukasey next. Stay with us. We're looking ahead today on Sunday Morning Futures.